maybe. I handed over that thing to the museum director. Apparently they're looking into whether or not it's something the museum can hold on to. So I'm having a wonder why they check it out. Probably be in here, right? Nope. The Great Collapse that was the trigger to the destruction of the Mauryan culture. Perhaps there's something to do with the towers. Now let's go find the director. Never mind, found him. Hello there, how can I help you? Better yet, how can we help you? We're with the Bracer Guild, sir. Oh, excellent. I was hoping someone would come soon. Let's waste no time getting down to business. Yeah, sure. So what was stolen? About that. Do you notice anything off here? Off? This is the airship gallery, right? Hey, now that you mention it, something seems to be missing. You're right, Estelle. There was a portrait of the Arthiel on the wall, as I recall. Now that you mention it, Chloe, I do remember something like that being here. How could I forget? I saw the portrait myself while touring the capital. Guess we know why you caught us. The portrait was stolen, wasn't it? Precisely that. It was theirs this morning, but around noon or so, I noticed that it was gone. Damn you, Phantom Thief! I'm assuming that's who that's supposed to be. His card was on the wall in his place. Yep, it's the Phantom Thief again. Oh, beauticious princess and her loyal companions, the image of the proud white falcon has fallen into my hands. Should you seek it, then answer my challenge. The first key is in the residence of the aged general. Search the onlooker of time. Him again? Our rivalry burns brighter still. Yeah, it sounds like the Phantom Thief LeBlanc, alright. You guys told me about him, but I saw you were exaggerating. You already know who the criminal is? Now that's what I call reassuring. I have every confidence you'll crack this case. We won't let you down. We'll be back before you know it. I don't know if knowing the criminal makes it reassuring, because if you know the criminal, then it means they have gotten away before. More than likely. How else would they have managed to commit a new crime? Anyway, what was it called? I know where to. I'm pretty sure I know where to go. But what did they call it again? The yeah, residence of the aged general and unlock of time. So it'd probably be General Morgan's house, because being the aged general and unlock of time would probably be a clock. Would probably be the best guess. Especially because General Morgan's house is actually named as his house. So for all my husband's dislike braces, he certainly speaks of them a lot recently. Perhaps it's Cassie's influence, as shocking as that would be. There's a clock on the mantelpiece, but that doesn't seem like it. What about up here? Oh, the grandfather book thing in the middle of the room. So the aged general is probably General Morgan. In that case, is this the unlocker of time? I'd say it's likely. We need to check inside. Estelle asked and received permission from the owners of the house to investigate the clock. Upon inspection, they found a card stuck to the back. The second key is in the city. Seek the symbol perched on the ground. As we thought, to think something like that was in his house. Well, this guy isn't the type to harm people who aren't involved in his weird plans, so don't worry. Best to close up tight at night, just in case there's any more mischief though. Yes, of course. Yes, we'll be careful. Alright, shall we continue? So symbol perched on the ground is probably the country symbol of the royal family's symbol, whatever. Which would probably be right in front of the castle. Right? That or along Main Street. Or along the main street. I didn't mean to go this far. Good day, your highness. Please don't overwork yourself, my lady. Hello, Dan. Hello, Alex. Don't worry, I'm fine. I still have some business in the castle to attend to. Could you let us pass, please? Of course, your highness. By your command, my lady. Wow. Heh. Only slightly popular, isn't she? Think I'm starting to get why that Duke guy's so jealous. Now entering, ladies Chloe, Estelle, and their entourage. Open the gate. Okay, will they leave the gate open or am I forced inside? Please come in. Haha. Thank you, you two. Well, Estelle, welcome back to my house. As it were, come on in. Thanks. Okay, ladies, you just leave it open. Okay, back we go. Might be a different spot I think it would be. There's a symbol perched on the ground. Okay, no, we can't go outside. It's in the city. It's gonna be about a castle, but I guess not. In the city and the symbol perched on the ground. I'm assuming it would be outdoors for one. I think it says in the city. Must have meant to be the bird at the entrance here. Oh, yep, no, it's the bird. Birdie. The symbol perched on the ground, huh? This white falcon symbol seems suspect to me. The birdie is a symbol of light barrels, so it would stand out. Let's have a look. The card is stuck to the base of the iron fence. The third key is in the foreign maze. Examine the will of the Blue Knight. Alright, we got it. But what does the Blue Knight mean? Is he talking about the Royal Guard? They do certainly wear blue uniforms. I think not. It says the foreign maze, so I don't think the Royal Guard makes sense. More than anything else, it wouldn't be beautiful, so we should try something else. Is that right? Well, it is kind for someone similar, so I guess maybe I should listen to the warning here. I'm gonna call it soon because my voice is starting to struggle a bit here. Yeah, it's one of the NPCs from the foreign part. As for which... yeah. Hey Zin, still keeping busy? Let me guess, business at the embassy? Yeah, I'd like to speak to Elsa about something. She's in, right? Well, I haven't seen her leave, so I guess she's around. Oh, who's with you? Gotta ask, you know, policy? Oh, they're helping me with some guild work. I'm going to introduce them to Elsa. Huh. Well, okay. I guess if they're with you then, with you Zin, I guess I can let them in. So, welcome to the Calvardian Embassy. Oh, do keep in mind the embassy hall is Calvard soil. Calvard and Libel are friends, but still, keep your nose clean, eh? You hear that, Olivier? And again, my heart is assaulted with arrows. How little trust you have in me. Oh, magnificent. Wow, so this is the Calvardian Embassy? I didn't expect it to be quite so fancy. And yet it's a bit exotic as well. I really like it. Well, quite a few people from even farther east have settled in Calvard. You know? They've had quite an impact on our culture too. Anyway, Elsa's office is the furthest room on the second floor. Alrighty. Ah, Zin! Hey, I'm back. I might have end up borrowing a room, so I'll be in your care if that happens. Of course. I'll have everything squeaky clean for you. The shop holds the Donut series. Whoops. Wasn't... It was... the Blue Knight. My, is that a hulk of a man over the Zin? I don't even need to see your face to know. Hey, are you seriously going to judge based on my body size? I saw you were a bear when we first met. My. Jeez. How many pages is each chapter, I wonder? Four pages per... okay, no, I don't... I will... read those tomorrow, I think. Oh, well, not tomorrow, next time. Next session, because I am too tired. Oh, you all... Why, if it isn't Zin. Counselor, a pleasure. All together here. They are your guests. Yes, they're co-workers with the guild. Are you here about the threat letter? Yes, it's as you guessed. It's a request from the Royal Army. Do you have any ideas? Threat letters like that aren't exactly rare in the Republic. To be honest, I barely paid any heed at all. True, there are a lot of radical groups in the country. Yes, they always cause trouble when the issue of immigration comes up. Well, this time at the least, I can't say anything. But why don't you see what Ambassador Cochrane thinks first? Yes, we'll go do that right now. If you'll pardon us. Actually, I think before we go any further, I think this is probably a good spot to take a bit of a break. Anyway, first things first, there's a bunch of books in here to read. The shelf holds the Dull Knight series. Yes, it's going to take a little bit. Oh boy. Chapter 1, The Puppeteer's Apprentice. Long, long ago in a certain little village, there lived a young boy. He was some 13 years old. His name was Pedro. Pedro was a small boy and not very strong, but his fingers were dexterous enough to astonish anyone. When he moved his whittling knife, wooden blocks would turn into birds and wonderful creatures as if by magic. The boy spent his days with these crafts as his life. One day, strange travelers came by the village. An old man with sharp ears and a large man in black garb casually strolled into the general store, whereupon their eyes were drawn to a wooden bird, so cunningly carved that one could almost hear his wings beat the air. It was Pedro's latest creation. After inquiring with the owner of the general store, the old man and his escort came upon the little house where Pedro lived, and the first words they had for him were, "Prepare your things for leaving for the city." Pedro's eyes widened in shock at the order. "What is this?" he cried. "Who are you people?" And his eyes found a large man in black. Pedro's words caught in his throat. The old man chuckled. "So you did notice. I thought you would." From the old man's fingers stretched transparent threads. He gestured, and the black-garbed man bowed gracefully. The immense man was the clockwork puppet. "He is the Black Priest," the old man said. "My finest work." His wrinkled face creased further as he smiled shyly. He was the famous master Capri Oratoria, a puppeteer known throughout Luna. Oratoria fixed Pedro a beady eye. "You could craft something greater than this. Doesn't the mere sword excite you?" No more words were needed. Tossing his carving knife into a sack, Pedro fixed his cap on his head and greeted his new master by saying farewell to his old home. My eye. Chapter 2, The Blue Knight. The years passed swiftly for Pedro at Oratoria's workshop on the outskirts of the capital. Under the tutelage of the puppeteer Capri, he learned techniques to build clockwork puppets and the skills to make them dance and perform. After 3 years of training, he completed his own masterpiece. A doll of noble bearing dressed in armor with a glimmering blue helm. If Capri's masterwork, the Black Priest, was a martial arts focus. If Capri's masterwork, the Black Priest, was a martial arts type focused on maneuverability, then Pedro's blue puppet was a well-balanced swordsman. Its counterattacks as it turned aside the Black Priest's punches and kicks were the very image of a graceful knight. "What will you call it?" Capri asked. Pedro had no answer. He had been so focused in his creation that he hadn't actually thought of one. Ultimately, it would come to be called the Blue Knight before he could name it. It was sometime after Pedro constructed the Blue Knight that the king who ruled from the city would pass on from their world. The king had long been ill, so there was little shock and the mourning period passed smoothly. And so, in accordance with the law, the king's only daughter, Princess Tia, would ascend to the throne as queen. I don't know what's going on. Thanks. I feel like something's irritating my throat a little bit. Yeah, well. Chapter 3. On the road home, Pedro visited the city accompanied by the Blue Knight. With the crowning ceremony approaching, the streets were abuzz with excitement. As he strolled the city center, people passing by cast strange looks his way. What a noble knight he must be. I'm sure he must be quite the famous hero. Do you suppose he's attending the crowning ceremony? Trailing quietly behind the Blue Knight, Pedro could hardly keep himself from doing a little dance. It felt like a step towards Capri, who could control the Black Priest, as if it was human itself. Of course, at the same time, he found it annoying that others thought him the servant of his own creation. It was on his way back to the workshop outside of town that Pedro's humming was interrupted by a scream. 1 second. Yeah. Pedro's humming was interrupted by a scream. No, please stop, cried a voice from the woods. No one's gonna save you, a man growled. Give up and give in. From the looks of things, some thuggish men had a girl cornered. Dainty and clad in a white dress, the girl's eyes searching sought desperately for a way to flee from the danger. Pedro squared his shoulders and, lowering his cap to shadow his eyes, he set his fingers in motion. The Blue Knight charged forward. Chapter 4. Righteous Display. Upon seeing the Blue Knight appear like a shadow from the heart of the forest, the men harassing the girl could only gape in amazement. Leave the girl and leave this place, the Blue Knight declared from the depths of his helmet. As this was the ventriloquist that the old master had drilled into his head as a secret of puppeteering. Who the hell are you? Get out of here before you get hurt. Fools! With a jab from his clockwork fist, the Blue Knight knocked back the man holding the woman, and pivoted swiftly to kick both men away. Are you hurt, young lady? No, I am well. Good. Would be best if you stood back. At last the Blue Knight drew his sword. Swathed in black, a third man who seemed like the leader approached. Not bad for a wanderer. Pedro eyed the new arrival. The black-garbed man's stance suggested he knew something of proper swordsmanship. Enough playing, though. Hand over the girl and I'll see you rewarded. To ignore one's duties is to be without courage. I fear I cannot do that, said the Blue Knight. Well then, die, screamed the black-garbed man and attacked. 5. Chapter 5. The girl with sky blue eyes. The man in black attacked. From the upper right, he feinted as if to strike the shoulder, but twisted his wrist and changed to a slash across the body. Pedro, having read the feint, pulled at his strings. The Blue Knight stepped back half a step, dodging the horizontal slash, then smacked the outstretched blade, knocking it from his foe's hands. Impossible. The black-garbed man rubbed his numb hand and impaled as the Blue Knight shifted slightly. As if it was a sign, the thugs turned and scattered like baby spiders. The girl had a sign of relief and curtsied, but thank you very much. She was still a bit shaky, but her manner was that of a noble woman. It is the duty of every knight to protect. Pay it no mind. Are you from the foreign lands, perhaps? Suddenly, Pedro was struck with a moment of whimsy. I am the Turin knight, Pedro the boy. There is my servant, he made the puppet reply. Huh? The girl finally seemed to notice him. She faced him with an expression of bewilderment. However, Pedro was no less surprised. Indeed, his shock was many, many times greater than hers. Cool turquoise blue eyes, that familiar, achingly lovely form. It was the same girl he had seen at the ceremonies and from the balcony of the palace. Your Highness, he blurted. The girl wrapped in pure white was the very girl who had just lost her father and was to be crowned in the capital. It was Princess Tia. 6. Chapter 6. The Melancholy of the Princess. Would you be willing to guard me for these 2 weeks until the crowning ceremony? In the royal throne room, Princess Tia asked this question with a serious expression. Of course she asked it not. Wait. Of course she asked it not of Pedro, but of the Blue Knight. Have you not a royal guard? Surely you would be far better off with them as your protectors. Unable to say that the Blue Knight was a puppet, Pedro followed as far as the throne room. He shivered, sensing even more trouble about to come. The royal guard that protect the capital they obey the words of my uncle, Duke Gaston. Even before they abandoned me and fled, Princess Tia said softly. Duke Gaston was a man surrounded by bad rumors. It was an open secret that he took advantage of the previous king's illness to line his own purse. The man in black you confronted, Sir Pedro, I am sure that was my uncle's second in command. All of it was planned. Princess Tia's sky blue eyes clouded. At this point, the kindly Pedro could hardly refuse the role of escort. Understood. I shall accept your request, he had the Blue Knight reply. Princess Tia's smile was like the sun breaking through the clouds. Thank you, Sir Knight. Thank you so much. She turned towards Pedro as well. And you too, good servant. May I ask your name? Pedro hid his eyes once more in the shadow of his cap. I'm no one worthy of naming myself. Chapter 7. Turbulent Days. Protecting the princess proved harder than predicted. After all, almost every day there were new ne'er-do-wells sent after her. Eventually, partially due to their closeness in age, Princess Tia and Pedro, still playing the servant, came to speak very openly to each other. While glad for the princess's trust, he didn't know what he could do if the truth of the Blue Knight came out. Pedro was beside himself with worry. On the other side of the city, a letter was delivered to a certain puppet workshop. What is that boy doing? Guessing the circumstances from the very vague statements in Pedro's letter, Capri sighed and gave a bitter smile. However, perhaps there's a good chance, he mused. Pedro was ever bright and straight as an arrow, yet his thoughts were always of puppets, partially due to living outside the city. He had no friends he could call close, and yet it hardly seemed as if he felt lonely for it. While the role of escort to the princess was perhaps beyond his station, if it proved a chance to awaken more human feelings in his apprentice, Capri could only wish him the best through a parent's heart. Chapter 8. What makes the darkness shake? That girl has the devil's own luck. And I didn't skip a chapter, did I? No, I didn't. Yeah, what makes the darkness shake? That girl has the devil's own luck. In a dim room lit by flickering candle flames, Duke Gaston cursed hatefully. He felt not a moment of sympathy or care for his niece. At this rate, she shall see the crowning ceremony, he snarled. This night, Pedro, can't we handle him? He's the first man so skilled that we've encountered. We fear that even if the royal guard attacked at once, it might be difficult. Recalling the shame of having his sword knocked from his hands, Duke Gaston's second in command bit his lip. Still, we have nothing to fear, he said. Well, a bit of an odd character, we have hired a skilled assassin to handle this, my lord. Odd? What sort of person is he? Hahaha, did you call? The flames danced bewitchedly, then went out as one. As if something tremendously heavy had collapsed down onto them. The carpeted floor shook with a thud. Who is it? Duke Gaston took a step back. The shadow illuminated by the moon was tremendous and inhuman. My lord, fear not. This is our assassin, Harlequin. He will remove all that is in your way with his puppet. The assassin stretched a mocking bow. Ahaha, I do love hunting. I don't take jobs unless the prey's lively. A sickening laugh shook the darkness, bringing a nasty smile to the Duke's face as well. Worry not, I am sure your hunt will be most enjoyable. And so did the night bathed in red by a crimson moon fade to dawn, melting like ice. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Afternoon in the Leicester Palace. Afternoon in the palace began with a tea party in the gardens. The princess, as always, filled 3 cups with black tea from the pot. Please enjoy your tea. My thanks, the Blue Knight intoned. Thank you very much, Pedro said. Pedro moved the Blue Knight with his left hand as he sipped the tea made by the princess. It was the happiest moment in their otherwise busy days. Good servant, you really seem to enjoy your tea. It makes very worth the effort for the one who made it. You were too kind. Smiling bitterly, Pedro pulled his strings. The Blue Knight in one go emptied the tea in the cup into a leather sack in his neck. At this, Princess Tia could only sigh. Whereas Sir Pedro here seems to hardly find it delicious at all. It makes it difficult to be motivated. Pardon me, I fear I am an impolite man. In his heart, Pedro felt a nervous edge, but the Blue Knight answered with an ever calm face. There had been countless moments where it seemed as if everything would be revealed, but Princess Tia showed no signs of doubting the truth of the Blue Knight. The princess smiled faintly, but her expression quickly turned somber. I suppose it doesn't matter. These fun afternoons will end tomorrow. After the crowning ceremony, the following day you shall both leave the city after all. Chapter 10. A faint pain. At the princess's lonely words, Pedro's heart beat fast as a drum. I fear I am a man on the path of the warrior, so my apologies. Oh, sorry. The Blue Knight said, No, I should apologize. I shall hardly make much of a queen like this. The princess shook herself and smiled brightly. And forgetting to control the puppet, Pedro ducked his head to hide the longing on his face. He would have loved to stay as her guard. Though she might have been of noble birth, Princess Tia was a lovely girl who had lost her father. However, she had been speaking not of the servant like Pedro, but of the Blue Knight. To the princess, Pedro was simply a part of the package. A sinking had made his chest hurt somehow. It was a pain such as he never felt when he was handling his puppet. Ultimately, Pedro had chosen, even if it meant saddening the princess, to flee from just unbearable pain in his chest. Would you like a second cup? As if to clear the heavy atmosphere, the princess offered the pot with a smile. Oh, that does sound good. Mind giving me a cup? With an unnerving laugh, a shadow leapt in. What? A sudden gust tore through the garden, sending the tea set flying off the table. Crimson wings beat the air as an immense puppet in the form of a devil fell to earth. Sorry for interrupting your lovely tea party, tittered a voice. Would you mind playing with me for a bit? On the devil's left arm was a human figure. It was the masked puppeteer Harlequin. I'll make sure it's plenty of fun, he giggled. Chapter 11, The Devil's Attack. Lady Tia, stand back. Pedro, shielding the princess behind him, sent the Blue Knight forward towards the Crimson Devil's right arm. It was a blind spot for the masked puppeteer. With a rapid turn, the knight let loose a heavy strike. The tip of the sword was swallowed up in the base of the creature's wing. The demon's right hand flashed up. Blade and claw scraped, sending sparks into the air. Losing his balance, the Blue Knight took an unsteady step back. The demon gave a shiver, and a barbed tail thick as a log screamed through the air, striking forward. Astonished by his technique, Pedro snapped the Blue Knight back, dodging the tail swipe. Oh, you are good. I didn't think you were in the same business. The masked puppeteer spoke not to the Blue Knight, but to Pedro. The Blue Knight, as if to interrupt these words, pointed his sword at the puppeteer. What nonsense are you speaking? If you shall not come, then I shall strike first. Even now, Pedro tried to hide it. Princess Tia, with a confused expression, gazed upon the preceding events. I see. So that's how it is, the masked puppeteer, as if suddenly realizing the situation, laughed softly. My. Well, let no one call me rude. If you'd rather not share, I'll stay quiet. But, you know. The puppeteer's voice dipped low and was tingling through a roiling darkness. If you don't even have that much guts, then even thinking you can win against my calamity is naive. Oops. Oh. Chapter 12, The Crimson... Wait. Okay, nice. The chapter got me. Yeah, Chapter 12, The Crimson Demon. The demon doll Calamity kicked the ground and launched herself into the air, closing the gap in an instant. Pedro reacted just a moment too slow. So intent was he on not wanting the princess to notice. It was the tiniest of openings, but it was the one that would prove fatal. First the sword was knocked from the clockwork hands, then the claws continued to dig in, cutting through the blue armor like butter. Oh my, what's wrong? The tail whipped in, encircling the Blue Knight. With a twitch of the puppeteer's fingers, the tail tightened, crushing both the knight's arms. Kihihi. Caught you. The claws grabbed the Blue Knight by his feathered helmet and lifted it off his feet. Stop! The first puppet he'd made, that he put so much effort into, was being torn to pieces. Pedro lost himself for a moment, and ran forward. He was so impatient, no need to worry. I was going to give him back. The Crimson Demon held the Blue Knight high, and threw it towards Pedro. Grr. The Blue Knight crashed into Pedro and bowled him over. He lay in a crumpled heap upon the lawn under the body of the puppet. Please stop. The princess stepped back, a step between the fallen pair and the masked puppeteer, her arms spread wide. I offer myself to you. In return, I command you to cease the senseless violence. Chapter 13, saying goodbye. Yeah. I offer myself to you. In return, I command you to cease the senseless violence. As Princess Tia's bold words, the puppeteer licked his lips loudly. You'd offer yourself in place of your guard? Why, you bring tears to my eyes, Princess. You mustn't, Lady Tia. Barely conscious, Pedro desperately tried to put words together. He had not the energy to use ventriloquism. My master Pedro is fine. Leave it to him. Hurry, run. Sir Pedro, silence. At the princess's angry words, Pedro managed to open his eyes fully. But those words were addressed most surely to him. To he. Still garbed and acting the servant. You knew? I'm sorry, I pretended not to notice. The princess smiled in a sad, lonely way, then turned to the puppeteer again with a dignified expression. Now, take me to my uncle. My oh my, what a princess you are. I bet you have made quite the queen too. The demon slowly stretched out his right arm. When the princess stepped on, it began to beat his crimson wings. Sir Pedro, thank you so much. This last week was very fun. These words of goodbye sunk into his brain. As he watched the scarlet shadow be swallowed into the blue sky. Pedro's consciousness slowly faded into darkness. Chapter 14. The Cost of Deceit. The next morning when Pedro opened his eyes, he found himself in his room at the doll workshop. Safe on his familiar firm bed, he felt a rush of relief. It had all been a dream. Capri called up in the workshop. Oh, how are you feeling? Pedro craned his neck. On the workbench in the back, he glimpsed disassembled blue parts spread out across the wood. He leaped up, panicked. It wasn't a dream? It seemed Capri had used the Black Priest to bring Pedro in the broken form of the Blue Knight back from the castle. It's my fault. Pedro's eyes trailed over his former masterpiece, now reduced to junk. His memory then trailed back over cool turquoise blue eyes, a warm smile like a ray of sunshine, and fine fingers playing black tea. Pedro ground his lip beneath his teeth. The Blue Knight wasn't good enough. If I had any talents as a puppeteer, I would have been able to protect Princess Tia. It seems you don't understand, Capri muttered. His face took on a rare expression of severity. What you lack is here. In a forceful motion, he jabbed his finger against Pedro's chest. Pedro could only blink in shock. Oh, whoops. Well, I found the card then. There was a card trapped between the pages. The door has already been opened. Join the Dance of the Valorous. Oh, look what I found. Oh, I get it. I guess this is technically considered Republican territory. It absolutely is a foreign maze. And the Blue Knight is a character from the novel, I think. Geez, he sure is detail-oriented. Anyway, I get a feeling that this one's the last of them. Dance of the Valorous. Well, now where could that be? Yeah, we're at chapter 15. Not paying too much as we go. I get lose track of the chapters half by reading. Yeah, chapter 15, a little decision. Her Highness knew the truth of the Blue Knight, and yet she chose to pretend not to. Do you really not understand why? Because, unexpectedly, in the depths of his mind, he had a flash of insight. Sir Pedro's silence, she had said, and then I pretended not to notice. He recalled the sad, lonely smile she gave him when she revealed it. Something hot boiled up inside his chest. Pedro raised his head and fixed Capri with an intense gaze. Master, I beg of you, help me repair the Blue Knight. The old man studied his face. The masked puppeteer you fought is a man feared like a demon in our trade. A half-baked man can't hope to match him. Do you understand? Even so, I will. For the person who believed in me. When he said this, Capri smiled broadly, as if something grand had fallen in his lap. It was the day before the crowning ceremony. At the palace, the princess's absence had been noticed, and the royal keep fell into uproar from top to bottom. Chapter 16, The Duke's Private Manor. On the outskirts of the capital in Duke Gaston's manor, Princess Tia sat in a lush room, carpeted in deep crimson. It's perfect for you, princess. With a satisfied expression, Duke Gaston glared at his bound prisoner. What do you intend to do at the crowning ceremony today? Princess Tia asked in a quiet voice. The Duke shrunk a bit under her icy gaze. I'm afraid you will be absent, and so the throne and staff will be offered to me, the second in line. Do you believe that people will accept you? To change the subject, Tia, I have found someone willing to accept you as a bride. Seeing the sky-colored eyes waver for a moment, the Duke smiled with renewed confidence. He's the second Imperial son and quite the connection. The Duke's smile widened. While you learn the joys of womanhood in a new land, you can leave the rest to me. It was a cowardly plan. Certainly, it wasn't a scenario that would be accepted for the Duke to take the throne in place of the first heir. However, it was different if the princess were to marry. If that were to pass, anyone could see that Duke Gaston's ascent to the throne was all but a done deal. My lord, it is about time. At his second-in-command's comment, the Duke stood. I am sure you're quite tired from the daily attacks. Take the chance to rest and recover. The Duke gave a chuckle at his own shamelessness and left the room. At that moment, that won't be happening. There was a tremendous crash and a glass window exploded into glittering powder. Oops. Right, we've got a couple more left. Chapter 17, and so the boy becomes man. Like a graceful leopard, a tall knight clad in blue armor leapt through the window. Following behind him was a small boy wearing a cap. Princess Tia, I'm sorry, I know I'm a bit late, he said. Sir Pedro, so you did come after all. A tremulous smile floated onto the princess's face. Somewhat embarrassed, the boy returned the smile. Their eyes locked and words unsaid passed between them. Hey, there's a time and place for things, the Duke having been completely ignored was spouting in anger. As the Duke seethed, his second-in-command was stealthily sneaking up on the still-bound princess. He reached out his hand for the princess's shoulder. The Blue Knight leapt forward like a bolt from a crossbow. Blah. The pitiable second-in-command, having taken a direct punch from the Blue Knight, collapsed against the wall, unconscious. That's a bit much. Duke Gaston, now white as a sheet, fled the room in a stumbling lurch. Princess Tia, let us hurry. Your crowning ceremony begins soon, Pedro said. Yes. Escaping the men's, the two were pursued by the Duke and his guard. However, as if to obstruct their path, a scarlet shadow fell down, shaking the ground. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to get in your way. I'm afraid thoroughness is the #1 part of being a puppeteer after all. Hehehe. The way he spoke made it hard to believe it was just a job. It was the masked puppeteer Harlequin and the Crimson Demon Doll Calamity. Chapter 18, The Duel Between Red and Blue. A white blade met dead claw. Blue and red twisted about in blinding fashion. The cover to the fight had been cleaved off. Oh? You're moving better, Harlequin exclaimed. And surprisingly, the Blue Knight's movements were just a little bit faster than that of the Crimson Devil Puppet Calamity. I broke it all to pieces too, but to fix it back up in just one day? Looks like the old man found himself a good apprentice. You know my master? Harlequin twirled his fingers and Calamity fluttered its wings and slowly lifted into the sky. We have a bit of history, yes? He giggled. But forget that. What do you do about this? As he held these words, the red puppet swooped down. Pedro pulled his strings back and the Blue Knight narrowly avoided the grasping claws. Horses, smooth as flowing water, Calamity sent out a slug-like tail to swipe at the knight. Pedro's threads flowed down and to the right. Dropping his center of gravity, the Blue Knight shifted its sword to a slant and redirected the force of the tail upwards. Horses. Calamity swung its horned head around and charged straight for the Blue Knight's torso. Pedro snapped his threads upwards and to his left this time. The Blue Knight, who had let itself fall slightly back, now slashed its sword down in a blur of light. With a small, pleasant crackling sound, the crimson wing on the right side of the puppet was hewn straight off. Chapter 19, Red Hot Roar. Slightly panicked, the masked puppeteer wrenched back on the strings and put space between himself and the Blue Knight. Hey, how about we call it a draw here? Knowing it was hopeless, Pedro still offered. As expected, a happy voice called back. Now don't make bad jokes like that. It's been too long since I've had this much fun after all. Seemingly drunk on warped joy, Harlequin twisted his hands about in a complex motion. It looked almost as if he were drawing magic circles in the air. I didn't think I'd end up using this, he giggled. Calamity crossed both arms across his body, as if holding itself. Slowly, a burning scent filled the air. A cold chill ran down Pedro's spine. He set to moving the Blue Knight, but he realized the princess was behind it. You can regret it in your next life, Harlequin screamed. The Crimson Demon took an imposing stance. His massive jaw creaked. There was a rushing of air, and then a ball of brilliant flames spewed forth. The area was engulfed in a violent pillar of swirling fire. The Blue Knight, Pedro, and the princess were swallowed by the inferno. So that's it, is it? Guess it was kind of a pity to end it there, huh? Gazing at the roaring flames, Harlequin muttered regretfully. However, his eyes soon narrowed, puzzled. No scent of meat roasting or metal melting reached his nose. What? The crimson maelstrom began to swirl faster, and the center suddenly parted as if blown apart from the inside. From the middle rose a blue twister. Chapter 20, The Whereabouts of the Deathmatch. From within the flame, the Blue Knight arose. Across his shoulders, Pedro and the princess and Princess Tia could be seen clinging, hale and hearty. What had blown away the raging flames was its tremendous two-handed sword. Spinning the enormous blade like a whirlwind, a butterfly made of flame danced above the Blue Knight's head. It was a fantastical scene. You think that'll work? Harlequin began gesturing again. It seemed he intended to launch another fireball. I won't let you, Pedro cried. Splitting through the wall of flames, the Blue Knight forced his way forward. In the next moment, Calamity's horned head was cleaved perfectly in two. Ha ha ha, absolutely wonderful. The fireball, moments from release, puffed up within the crimson puppet and caused a small explosion. Flung by the shockwave, the Blue Knight was tossed into the air. Pedro braced both legs and managed to catch it. Sir Pedro, are you alright? I'm fine, yeah, but I don't think there's any saving him. Though Harlequin may have been a foe, his was still a life that had been taken. Pedro felt the guilt of such a deed strike him. Princess Tia, seeing Pedro was so troubled, enveloped him in her arms. I'd appreciate God, hung up. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't kill me off so easily, said a whispering voice from inside the pillar of flames. The voice seemed somehow satisfied. I applaud your efforts, young man. I'll back down nicely this time. Looking forward to when we next meet. Ah ha ha ha. The ground shook and a red and black shadow launched skyward and disappeared from sight. Pedro and the princess looked at one another and burst into relieved laughter. At Chapter 21, The Duel Master's Purpose. The boy and girl and one puppet left for the capital on light feet, while the masked puppeteer fled into the deep dark forest, riding his scorched creation. Stopping suddenly, the masked puppeteer spoke to the shadows in the trees. You're there, aren't you, old man? Noticed me, did you? Pedro's master Capri stepped out from the cover of the trees. As always, the Black Priest was with him. But it was a curious sight, for the puppet had no arms. As I thought, you fixed the blue puppet's arms with parts from the Black Priest. No wonder it moved so well. Well, the gap between you and Pedro was a bit too much, after all. I took it upon myself to give him a helping hand. Harlequin's shoulders sank in response to the words of the old master. Well, I don't mind since I had fun, but if and when the 13 factories find out about this, I don't think Pedro will have it too easy either, do you? The 13 factories. The moment he heard those disturbing words, Capri's expression darkened. Ha 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 ha. Well then, see you soon. Leaving behind a suppressed laugh, the masked puppeteer disappeared into the deep forest. It is a road all puppeteers must pass. The old puppet master muttered in a quiet voice, almost as if telling it to himself. And last one. Final chapter, A Moment's Rest. Afternoon in the palace began with a tea party in the gardens. The princess, as always, filled 3 cups of black tea from the pot. Please enjoy your tea. Thank you very much, Pedro said. Behind the boy sipping stood a knight armored in blue. However, he had not a word to say. What happened to the Duke in the end? On the night of the crowning ceremony, Duke Gaston had disappeared with his vassals. After all, his plan had been foiled and the Queen successfully crowned before countless countrymen. The royal guard, whose allegiance had been questionable before the coronation, fell to their knees in contrition and swore their loyalty to the new Queen. The Duke, before he could be held for the crime of abducting the princess, understandably chose to flee the country. My uncle has chosen to entrust himself to the Empire. Apparently he sought protection from the Imperial Prince that he had arranged as a husband for me. The Queen smiled slightly. However, it seems as if they consider him something of a pest. I feel a bit sorry for him. Pedro was amazed. They do not deserve your sympathy. In truth, Pedro did not think Duke Gaston would back down easily. And what of the machinations of that foul masked puppeteer, Harlequin? Capri, Pedro's teacher, seemed to know the jester, but simply dodged any questions about him with frustrating vagueness. Regardless, Pedro knew another battle would come, and soon. He would have to upgrade the Blue Knight if he hoped to emerge victorious. Oh, Pedro. A slightly irritated yet comforting voice snapped Pedro from his reverie. Do you wish for your tea to grow cold? The blue eyes which met his own cracked out a message. It will be alright. Pedro, a little embarrassed, took his tea and drank deeply. It was enough to simply have this moment with her. In the end, that's the entire thing for the Blue Knight. Or should they really expect everyone to just everyone to just wait for the entire series to find the clue? Jay, you have Will of Blue Knight, you don't really give him much of a clue in the chapter, so you'd have to go through them all in order to try and find it. Oh, fine. Let me just... Okay. I know we are in the NPC and we probably should go straight up, but we should probably get the missing mini-game item done first. Which it was? Yeah, an open door and Dance of the Valorous. Huh? It's unlocked. The entrance here should be kept locked as long as there's no show like the martial arts competition. In which case... it seems it's our goal then. Alright, let's get inside. Also, I should probably heal everyone up. It's locked. Locked. The Grand Arena, kinda nostalgic. Feels like we were here just yesterday. Just standing here has me recalling the admiring roar of the audience. You weren't invited to the castle after you won the martial arts competition, right, Estelle? I wish I could have joined you on the field. Thinking about it, I was still pretty amateurish. But, you know, once this whole thing is cleared up, I'd like to take part in next year's martial arts competition. To test my own ability for once. For one. Now that sounds like Cassius's daughter to me. I'd like to join in on the action too. I, don't really feel like I'd have a chance against you, Zin. Well, well, then shall I sing a song from... Wait, then I shall sing from the seats to cheer you on, Estelle. I will serenade my love for you as mightily as I can. Pass? Monsters? This feels reminiscent of some old Coliseum games. The setting is certainly apt. It's a pity we lack an audience. Here they come. Okay, it's neutral on everything, except for the big guy who is... will take extra fire. A very young monster has the odd habit of freezing its prey before eating them. Yeah, most rarely sighted in elevated regions, and it inhabits use of water-based arts. Okay. Smack it. No? Did you have to freeze the one unit? Oh, you should get the small ones out first. Okay, the damage isn't too bad. The concerning part though is going to be the it's going to be the freeze. I should play down on Zin because his play ends shortly. Oh wait, we take some damage back from that. Well, at least Sin is free, so... that's good. Actually no, the quest doesn't do anything because it's been lots of odds, so... it's doing lots of odds damage, so defense doesn't help. And it goes. What? 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 What was that? It was like a magic trick. What a fabulous display. He's a fitting rival indeed. He's even weirder than I thought he'd be. Well, whatever. Let's check the contents. Yep. Retrieve portrait of the Arceal. There was a card stuck to the bottom of the box. My princess, my rival, and brave braces. Did you enjoy the show I prepared for your arrival? As I do not wish to upset the mood of our main role, it is time for the supporting actors to take their bows. I hope you will look forward to our next chance meeting. Some chance meeting. I wish he'd cut it out. But there's something curious about it. Main role? Supporting actors? What does that mean? Now that you mention it... screw it. let's go return the photo to the archives. I can't thank you enough, Races. Still, why would that Phantom Thief fellow still approach the Arceal? It certainly is lovely, but it's really nothing more than a simple portrait. It holds little monetary value. Well, he doesn't really care about value so much as he cares about pulling off a good prank or two. And it's probably our fault that the museum got wrapped up in his latest one. Sorry for putting you through all this. No need to apologize, it wasn't your doing. And if anything, I'm very pleased with how you handled this. Excellent work. Right. Yeah. Both of those are done, which I never actually turned in. I should probably do that now. And also probably make a stop at the hotel on the way. Because we're running up AP. I can also probably put in a few open slot upgrades. Which I probably should have done that before I rested. Oh well. Board. Hey, E+. Nice. Ingenuity Quartz. Let's see what that does. Opened. Also 1. Oh yeah, because I never upgraded the slot, that's why I can put that in. It's like, I remembered about that, it's like, why did I never put that in? Oh, it's because I never upgraded the slot to hold a size 2. Ingenuity. Recover small amount of VP while walking. 2, 5, and 2. We have Sulfur and Hellgate. I switch this. Oh wait, no, I can't switch it because I don't have a 2 slot. Oh, I see missing some. Oh, I know, because I know why he's missing them, because I never put any in, because I was, I hadn't been using them. Okay, that one has to be Earth. Wait, here's... Okay, I guess. HP and EP cut. I guess I just put in shield, so he's a bit more tanky against arts damage. Okay. Upgrading exchange. Probably I think needs some. Why is that what? Sounds expensive. Take that one. They're a lot more expensive. They have changed the fact, yeah, they're all in a line, so the upgrades tend to be a lot more expensive. And I can put the upgrades didn't at all. Like, he's a really cheap. You can probably upgrade his fairly easily. But everyone else's gets fairly expensive because they're all in a line. Anyway, yeah, I need to switch these around. And then put, yeah. That one in instead, because it gives us luck curia. Wait, Phantom Pain? Wasn't that the one? Was it the one? I'm not sure. Nice, we got a new magic. Diamond Dust. Lots of lots of magic. I think at some point I'm gonna have to probably look at switching out. One is no, because I have to look at them all later. I'll have to look and see if I can switch out some for a EP cut. Yeah, a lot of those are really expensive in Frankfurt. Did I have the highest? Okay, I think I did. Okay, he doesn't. You do. Okay, we're good. Right, back to Calvar's embassy to question about the letters. This should be the ambassador's office. Shall we say hello to Elsa? Yep. Alright, let me introduce you. Yes, come in. Pardon us, Elsa. Why Zin? Zin? What? Hello, come in. Last I heard you've returned to Calvard. What's an old dog like you doing back here in Grancel? Well, let's just say this old dog had a trick or two to show off. I'll likely be here in Libel for a while. As to be expected of an A-rank bracer, I suppose. You never let up, do you? So, who's this with you? A pleasure to meet you, ma'am. I'm still Bright of the Bracer Guild. These are our, assistants. Olivier Lenheim and Chloe Rins. A pleasure, Ambassador. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ambassador. The pleasure is mine. I'm Elsa Cochrane, Calvert's ambassador to Liberal. I get the feeling this is a bit more than a social call, though. I'm afraid so. Estelle and her party asked about the threatening letter the embassy received. Ah, that letter, yes. You're hoping the Royal Army investigate the matter then? Technically, yes. Threats of terrorism aren't exactly something the Guild can ignore either, though. Would you mind helping us out? Well, I suppose we're well stuck into the situation after all. What would you like to know? Well, to start with, do you have any idea who would have sent that letter? Like, does anyone in the Republic oppose to signing the pact, or? Well, of course. You're looking at one after all. Huh? Elsa, please. Try not to tease the kids too much, yeah? Well, the truth's the truth, Sin. I'm pretty sure I've chewed your ear off about Erebonia enough for you to know what I think. Well, yes. Still, Miss Bright, don't misunderstand me. President Rocksmith and Parliament have already approved the pact. My personal feelings won't get in the way of my job. Right. Is there anyone else from Calvard who might oppose the pact? Oh, certainly. They're all tiny groups, though. And to be honest, there's no real reason to oppose it anyway. No reason? I don't quite follow. It's not worth bothering. The pact doesn't have any practical effect. It's simply agreeing to the statement, we shall not rely on violence to solve international problems and negotiate instead. It's more of a declaration than anything else, but it is little more than a promise which can be broken without consequence, save a loss of face, no? Precisely. The worst I could do would be to rally other countries against the aggressor. Now, it's true that relations between Erebonia and Calvard have gotten even worse than usual the past decade. So there is some value in establishing Libera as a place where we can negotiate. But again, who'd bother opposing that? Yeah. It doesn't really seem like the thing you send a bunch of friendly letters about. Well, Ambassador Cochrane, if you don't believe someone Calvard is the perpetrator, then whom do you suspect? Well, my gut of course tells me to blame it all on the Erebonians. The militaristic Hawk faction specifically. But frankly, even they have that new engine on the line. They aren't so stupid as to cut off their noses despite their faces. The new engine? Wait, you mean the one from the RCL? Yes, an engineering sample will be provided to both Calvard and Erebonia. It'll happen right after the signing, in fact. Whoa. As expected of Queen Alicia. She holds both Empire and Republic in the palm of her hand. Yes, I have to admit she's handled this masterfully. That cutting-edge engine is going to birth a whole new generation of airship designs. And Alicia is practically handing it out. So long as you sign this agreement, and play nice with it and each other at least for a while. Even the most testosterone poison ninnies among the Erebonian Hawks wouldn't want to miss this chance. Yeah, I guess. Which means, of course, that the possibility that either the Republic or the Empire intervene quickly is pretty low. Indeed. I'm sorry I can't be of more help. No, you were a big help. Just being able to cross suspects off the list helps a lot. Oh, speaking of which, though, we'd like to ask you about something else. Estelle asked Ambassador Cochrane about Ren's parents. Harold Hayworth, a merchant for Crossbell? I can't say it rings any bells, I'm sorry. He's never visited the embassy, at least. Darn. Well, thanks. Do remember that Crossbell sits directly between Erebonia and Calvard, however. You may want to inquire at the Erebonian embassy as well. Okay, thanks, Ambassador. And thanks for being so open with us. You're quite welcome. I'm glad I could help. By the way, you said your name was Estelle Bright. You wouldn't happen to be Brigadier General Bright's daughter? Oh, you know Dad? Of course. The heroic vanquisher of the Imperial Army. And now the head of Libera's Royal Army. I'd heard he had a daughter, but I didn't expect to meet you like this. Well, I'm just kind of an inexperienced newbie myself, still. You're off to a good start then, I think. We at the embassy have relied on the guild a number of times in the past. Should the time come again, I hope you aid us, Miss Bright. Well, if the chance comes up, sure. Well, we'll see you around. Bookshop? No, something on bookshop. But they don't seem to know anything.